Hello everyone, the 5 weapons for beginner Warframe players. We have shotguns, we have rifles, we have melee weapons as well. We're just basically naming weapons from Master Rank 0 to Master Rank 4, which is in my opinion the beginner level. I guess Master Rank 5 and 6 could be considered as well. At Master Rank 7 you do get some decent weapons as well, but we're gonna stick to Master Rank 4 maximum. This should take you at least to Saturn, of course modding considered, and Warframes as well. In the gameplay I use basics caliber, even I think he's leveled like 4 or 5. I'm not going to be using a lot of mods, just some basic mods that you can get by playing the game or maybe trading with other players. Nothing too demanding of course, because beginner weapons as well, so keep that in mind. And without any further ado, I'm your lovely host, the Gaming Weasel, and let's get straight into this. And our first weapon is going to be a Master Rank 0 weapon, of course, that's where we're starting the list. It is going to be the Silva and Aegis. This is a melee weapon that does heat damage. You can purchase it inside of the Eternal Lab inside of your dojo. And now you might be wondering, well, I don't have a clan. Well, basically, go into the recruiting tab and wait for someone to invite, or I guess advertise their clan, and basically if it says Master Rank 0 demand, just basically join it, and they're gonna have the blueprint that already researched. It's pretty easy to join a clan in Warframe. Almost everybody is inviting everybody, so joining a clan is no big deal, and plus you're gonna need it later on. As I said, innate heat damage, meaning it only does heat damage. Critical chance and critical multiplier are quite low, but we do not care at this level. Honestly, if you have the stance, the mods, of course, mods on screen, if you have the stance of Villain Storm, use it. Of course, stances, they will give you more modding capacity, allowing you to place more mods, and also will sometimes even improve the performance of the weapon in, I guess, combo sense. Now, Pressure Point, Fury, and Reach, basically 3 mods. If you don't have the capacity, just basically go for Pressure Point, which is damage, and you're always gonna need damage, and Fury for extra attack speed. For a Master Rank 0 weapon, this weapon is really good. You cannot complain. It's gonna take you basically through Earth, Venus, it can take you through Mars as well, and Mercury. These beginning planets are going to be pretty good. Of course, you're probably going to have a primary weapon like the Paris or the MK1 Bratton, so that's going to be good as well for long range, but this weapon is an incredibly good weapon for Master Rank 0. You can't expect much, but nonetheless, it is a good weapon. Later down the line, maybe if you consider using this weapon even more, maybe you can put on a little bit another heat mod to increase the heat damage, or maybe some other mod that you find fancy. But as I said, for a Master Rank 0 weapon, this sword and shield weapon is really good, and heat also reduces, as a damage type, it reduces the enemy's armor value, so that is going to be quite good. And it is also good against infested, so if you come across infested, use this weapon. It is really nice. Now we're gonna be moving on to our second weapon, which is going to be the Strun. The Strun is a Master Rank 4 weapon. Oh, sorry, Master Rank 1 weapon. This weapon is basically purchased through the market for 25,000 credits, and that is really cheap. What I did is put point blank for extra damage and incendiary coat for fire damage. As I said, fire as a single base damage type is really good. This shotgun is basically a semi-auto shotgun. Quite cool. It has a decent magazine, but maybe increasing it with a mod would be pretty good, or even the reload speed. The reload speed is a little bit low. It does primarily impact damage, which has a chance of staggering enemies, and is good against shields. So if you're meeting some Corpus enemies inside of Venus, for example, this weapon is going to be really good. The crit chance and multiplier, not something to talk about. There's 7.5 and 1.5 times for the crit multiplier. Honestly, as I said, Master Rank 1 weapon, you can't really, be mad at it. It also does have a polarity, which reduces the mod, I guess, requirement capacity by half, so that's quite good. And as I said, for a shotgun, that's Master Rank 1 and only requires you basically to buy it without any resources. this weapon is actually really good. Against a little bit tougher enemies, it should be a little bit more, you know, it's gonna suffer a little bit, but nonetheless, even then, this weapon does pretty good damage. It's not that hard to get, as I said, it's actually incredibly easy to get, and it can be used even more throughout, maybe Ceres, somewhere around there, maybe what's it called, you know, maybe Saturn, but I wouldn't prefer it. When you reach Saturn, you're probably going to be a little bit higher mastery rank for the next weapon in line, which is going to be the Boltor. The Boltor is a mastery rank 2 weapon. It is an automatic assault rifle. This fires bolts that do impact damage, which is good against some armor types. We're not going to get into those because it's quite complicated. It does fire a little bit slowly. The crit chance is 10% here, and the crit multiplier is 1.8, which is okay. It's a little bit better than the previous weapons mentioned, so that's nice. It is not hit scan, so the bullets have travel time, and you have to keep that in mind. So, you know, you need to you know, aim a little bit in front and stuff like that, but nonetheless, this is actually a really good weapon. Modding this weapon, again, is not that difficult. Serration for damage, always try to place a damage mod on your weapon if you do have one, and then Hellfire for that extra fire damage to apply fire on armored enemies. This weapon, when you get a little bit, you know, maybe a multi-shot mod, and maybe, for example, a little bit stronger fire mod or something like that, something to increase the reload speed, or I guess, sorry, the fire rate, this weapon could be actually pretty good. Still Jupiter, for example, and even Saturn a little bit. This weapon can be modded pretty easily and pretty good, honestly, and it's not that bad of a weapon. The only thing is, as I said, it has a projectile and it has flight speed, so you know, that's a little bit bad, I guess, for some players, but nonetheless, it is a good weapon. Now, I sadly do not have gameplay for this, because this is like sort of honorable mentions. We do have a little bit more demanding weapon, that's the Dera. That is, I think, a master rank 3 weapon. I probably corrected myself on the screen right now, but this can be purchased from the Corpus Lab inside of the dojo. This weapon is actually really good as well. You can use that weapon as well, it's sort of like an honorable mention. The Paris is also a good bow if you want to maybe go the bow route. You're gonna probably be a little bit slower in killing stuff, but if you want to use a bow, the Paris at this low rank is going to be pretty decent as well. So those are like 2 cool weapons. The Carrack is also a decent weapon, but in some opportunities I actually prefer the Boltor to the Carrack. Now, we're going to be moving on a little bit higher mastery rank level. We're going to be moving on basically to number 4. So mastery rank 4, this is like maybe making a small little skip of 3, because at 3 we don't have that many good weapons, but at 4 we have a really good combo. The first weapon of the combo is going to be the Guandao. This is a melee weapon, a polearm. You can purchase this weapon inside of the Tenno Lab, inside of the dojo, as I said. Now this weapon can really do decent amounts of damage. Now, the critical chance is 28%, which is really good. And the crit multiplier 2.2, which means you can mod it for critical chance. So the build, Shivering Blight is going to be really good if you get this mod somehow. I think you can get this mod, if I'm correct, through a junction, but maybe correct me if I'm wrong. True Steel, Organ Shatter, try to level up those 2 mods. Those are going to be useful even further down the line. And Pressure Point, of course. The good thing is it has a V polarity, so reducing a V polarity mod by half the capacity, that's going to be pretty good. And also having a stance is going to increase your mod capacity by the amount, as you can see, 10 right there. So that's going to be very cool. Of course, keep in mind, I'm using these weapons at master rank 0, so, you know, you're gonna have maybe a little bit less / more than I do, but I do have like 60 mod capacity just because of my mastery rank. You're gonna have a little bit more because, or sorry, a little bit less because you're mastery rank 4. Now, good attack speed, good range, really good range, and as I said, amazing critical chance and critical multiplier. And here is where you're gonna discover Slash. Slash is really good against infested and against flesh. This weapon is gonna tear through stuff as well. The proc of Slash is very good as well, but we're not gonna get into detail into that. Later down the line, when you level this weapon up even more, you could put Viral, which is basically combining toxin and cold damage to make Viral, which increases the damage to health, so that's very cool. So this weapon, further down the line, can be really good, and the Prime variant, when you get access to it, is going to be incredibly good. I still use the Guandao Prime till this day. So, moving on to our second part of the combo, which is the Heck shotgun. This is a semi-auto shotgun. It does really good damage. It can be basically purchased to the market, crafted with resources and credits. It is a hit scan weapon, so that is going to be very cool, primarily doing puncture damage, so good against some armor types and against some infested robotics. The critical chance is a little bit low at 10%, but the critical multiplier is 2.0, which is really good. And its fire rate quite slow. Magazine 4, not that great. Other than that, what you can do is, of course, mod for point blank. And now here's where you're gonna spend just a tiny bit of platinum, or maybe you can get it for yourself. Scattering Justice is a multi-shot mod, increasing this shotgun's multi-shot to 200%. Multi-shot mods are really cool. I think for shotguns it is Hell's Chamber, if I am correct. And the Scattering Justice mod is incredibly good on the Heck. This is basically a must-have mod if you're going to be using the Heck, even further down the line. You can see me playing with this weapon inside of the Void, which has really tough enemies, because those have the highest armor and also health capacity. So you know this weapon can be good. When you level this weapon up, this is like the only weapon that I would maybe, as a new player, even put a Catalyst on and put maybe like 1 or 2 Formas on, because this weapon can be incredibly good further down the line. Put Viral as well, just because you can, or maybe Corrosive would be even better on this weapon. And use the Scattering Justice mod. That's going to be very cool. Now, why do I need to spend around 10 platinum, I think this mod is, to actually, you know, be able to buy it. But even then, this mod is really good for the price. I mean, 10 platinum for a mod that increases the weapon's damage incredibly good. Also, what I wanted to say is this mod has a proc, because it is a Steel Meridian mod, which is of course one of the syndicates in Warframe, and this has the certain proc which will do a little, I guess, blast around you and staggering enemies and doing a little bit of damage, so that is very nice as well. Maybe even putting on heat on the Heck would be very nice. Now, those are some of the weapons that, you know, I think are really good at these low mastery ranks. The Zorus is actually a really good weapon. The Zorus is going to be gathered inside of completing the Deadlock Protocol quest. And basically that is it. You just need to complete the quest and you have the weapon. The Zorus is honestly really good. It does incredible amounts of damage, easy to get, and basically you can, you know, do pretty good damage with this weapon. You can explode enemies and do really good damage with this weapon as well. So when you get the chance to get the Zorus, because this is going to be very cool. So, basically, that is my sort of, I guess, top 5 weapons, even though it's not a top 5, it's just 5 recommendations that I have. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you maybe disagree with some of the weapons, so, you know, maybe leave it in the comment section below. If you maybe know some better weapons, do that too as well. And that is basically it. This has been the Gaming Weasel. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, do leave a like, a comment, do subscribe for more, and I will see you guys on the next one. The Gaming Weasel over and out.